Antoine Hunter is a deaf dancer and the founder and artistic director of the Urban Jazz Dance Company. It is one of the only deaf-led dance companies in the United States and the only Black deaf-led dance company in California. This dance company is made up of deaf and hearing dancers and has performed all over the world. Born deaf, Antoine's language is visual. He communicates by using his body to express the raw emotion and energy of the music. This visual language needs no interpretation. He is an award-winning dancer and choreographer. What's even more impressive, 9 years ago, he founded the Bay Area International Deaf Dance Festival. In November of 2021, with the help of an interpreter, Jay and I had the honor of interviewing Purple Fire Crow, also known as Antoine Hunter. I'm Susan Brown.
I'm Michaela Joy O'Shea.
And I'm Jay Yee.
You're listening to Beyond the Fog Radio,
our podcast about the untold stories of San Francisco's long history from the people that have helped shape it. Whether you're new to San Francisco or have lived here your entire life, join us as we share the stories of our city by the bay.
It was one of those gloriously sunny November San Francisco days at the Palace of Fine Arts. And we all showed up, and Susan got this text message saying, Mr. Hunter is looking for you. And we looked over, and there he was, standing there in the sunlight, just emulating all the magical sparkliness that is Antoine Hunter. And then we sat down and spoke with him with an interpreter. I did not get the privilege of speaking with him myself, but I got to be in the background, photographing the scene. Take a listen to Antoine Hunter.
We cannot thank you enough for joining us on Beyond the Fog Radio.
It's an honor to be here. Thank you.
Yeah. So I wanted to find out a little bit about your personal history. Where are you from? And what was your growing up, your childhood like?
Thank you. I grew up in Oakland, California. I love to stay the home of the Black Panthers. You know, I'm very proud. It is that I grew up where people value the art. We value family. We value supporting each other as humanity, and that's what I, have inside myself growing up in Oakland, California. My mother, Charlotte Mitchell, was a single mom who took care of us five. It was my cousin that lived with us. It was I adopted brothers and my two sisters. Um, if people ask me who's my role model, that's my mother. That's where I get my strength from. You know. And I'm deaf. I love being deaf.
That's awesome.
Describe that, because you're a dancer and your language is visual. So describe the beauty of having visual as your language.
I think because I grew up from a single mom, my mom taught love yourself. It's though me being deaf is who I am. It's part of my DNA. So I can't split it apart from being black and deaf or split it apart. No, it's together. I'm black and I'm deaf and I'm proud. You know?
Exactly.
And it makes me feel like I'm dancing like, with James Brown when he said, I'm black and I'm proud. I just add that to it. I'm black and I'm deaf and I'm proud.
Right, because being black and deaf and proud is exactly who you are, and that's beautiful. And what a wonderful thing to learn from your from your mom, who was a single mom, that you should be proud of who you are. Everyone should celebrate who they are. That's wonderful.
And I think so, when I watched my mother continue to fight for us in many different places, fight for us to have food, education, experience, it makes me want to be that for my community. Fight for my community to have food, the right to be seen and love who they are. I think was one thing that was made me really different from a lot of people. I really actually love being who I am. I didn't feel that being deaf needs to be a feeling that we need to think as a curse. No, it was my gift to see and hear things differently in the world.
Exactly. Exactly. It's your gift to see and hear things differently in the world. It's beautiful. How did you find dance, and what age were you when you found dance?
Oh, I tell people I was dancing in my mother's womb. My mother would slow down, slow down. But it didn't hit me until high school, and I went to Skyline High School, the same
In
high
Oakland.
school that Tom Hanks went to.
Right.
Yes, in Oakland,
Skyline High.
California.
Yeah. Skyline High School.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah. So beautiful performing art high school. Um, but I would say enjoying the journey as a deaf person wasn't easy. I spoke very poetic with my words. Some vocabulary I may not speak correctly, then people would say, "Why you talk like that?"
Oh.
And yeah, me being deaf, so you can't hear me. I've never met any deaf person. They weren't really listening to me. And so I felt I wanted to take myself out from the world.
Mm.
Unfortunately, I felt suicidal, you know. But it wasn't until Miss James, Dawn James, my high school dance teacher, uh, told everyone to make a group dance. No one wanted to join my group. Me, dance with me, because I was the only one deaf in there.
Okay.
So I told the one of them, he said, why don't you go ahead and do a solo? So I did. I did a solo with Whitney Houston.
Yes.
Close. What's the name of that song? Oh, and I will always love you.
Exactly. That's a beautiful song.
Yeah. So I danced to that. I was dancing, dancing, and one moment there's the instrumental break, and I felt like that lightning was taking over my body. To wave, to fire that was in me. Everything was just black. There was no people in the room, and I was just dancing to all that emotion that flooded in me. When the music stopped, I felt that people was like stop walking, so I knew the music faded out, and everyone started playing. And my teacher asked, "What did you see?" And they said that he was alone, that he was looking for the love. And I was like, "That's right." That's when I learned that dance was a way to communicate with the world.
That's amazing. And then, so when the music is on, you feel the vibration of the music. Is that correct?
Yeah, yeah. And but when I jump, there's no vibration to feel sometimes. I think it's about the energy that flows because sound does have energy. It vibrates. People who listening to music, it vibrates from their body and it's energy from their emotion. So I started to feel that I'm maybe you could say uniquely different from how I feel the energy in the room, like that. Um,
Wow, that is so amazing. So you you hear you feel the vibration, but you also feel the energy of the song in the room, and that's what makes you dance.
yes, yeah.
That's amazing. So then when you do choreography, when you choose a piece, how do you do that?
Back in the day, it was like a record player. I would look at the record player and I would see the front cover, and there's Miles Davis, the Gibson. Um, but I did like what's that? Run MC, Earth, Wind and Fire. Something about the energy from the music that I'm listening to, the energy from it and the vibration from it, uh, make me be pulled to it. How I pick the music. Some music that have a strong bass, like drumming, like Afro. I won't just say it's because it's drum, but it's also connected to my DNA, my Afro root.
Right.
So that makes me move. You
Yeah,
understand that?
right. That's fantastic. So now you have a dance company, is that right? What is it
Yes.
called?
It's called Urban Jazz Dance Company. URBAN Jazz Dance Company.
Urban Jazz Company. Okay. And are people in the company, are they hearing and deaf or just deaf?
Mhm. When I first started off, it was all hearing, and then later more deaf people started coming, and then at one point it was completely all deaf.
Wow.
So it's divided humans. Yes, deaf and hearing.
So it's deaf and hearing, and you're the artistic director and you're the choreographer, is that correct?
Yes, I'm the founder, director, choreographer.
That's so fantastic. Are there other um, deaf dance companies in our country, or is yours one of the only ones?
Well, there's other dance company that's led by deaf in USA. Yeah. There's some, but the higher number of deaf dance companies tend to be led by hearing people. So it's a little bit different. We're the only in the Bay Area deaf dance company. Well,
Yeah, and it's led by and you're the founder, and it's led by someone who is deaf, which makes all the sense in the world.
yeah,
That's amazing.
yeah. It's very rare to have especially a black deaf person to lead it. If the opportunity can be very a larger bill. People like, wow, you're deaf? That's challenge. You're black. And you're from Oakland?
Right.
And sometimes I used to start off with, what's wrong with Oakland? It's beautiful.
I
The
know.
Bay Area is beautiful. Strong people lead. Many people came to the Bay Area. Oh, I just think we just need to give people opportunity. And I learned how to manage a business. Next year, August 2022, for 2022 will be the 15 years anniversary for Urban Jazz Dance Company.
Really?
Yeah,
You've been around for 15 years?
15 years.
Where do you perform?
We perform all over the world. I'm proudly perform in Russia with over sold out 800 people standing up watching our show. Here in San Francisco, Oakland, Colombia, South America, all over. I'm just really honored. I hope we do Australia. You know?
Yeah.
That would be fantastic.
Yeah, we try to learn different sign language from other people in the country. But when I'm dancing in my choreography, I use American Sign Language.
Right,
But when I go to other country, we have a different kind of sign language.
right.
So I learned their language and I put them into the performance, and they feel very included.
Mm.
Which I don't understand what it's like not to be included. That connection that dance saved my life when I learned that dance has the power to communicate with the world. I want to make sure everyone feel free to use dance or any art to stay alive and connect with the world.
Okay, so that's so marvelous. Jay, do you have any questions?
I do have many questions.
Okay, so it's Jay's turn.
So I'd like to go back to high school at your first dance performance where you discovered that dance is communication. How has that led your career? Where did you go from there?
I just knew I didn't try to have a dance career. I just knew that dance and stuff saved my life, and then I was awoke. Maybe I would say deaf woke. You know, um, I look at the society like, are we really listening to each other? We just need to find a way to listen to each other.
Yeah.
Am I deaf or they're more deaf? So, so that was my mission. That was my my duty. That's who I am. Yeah. But the excitement became what? I want to learn all kinds of dance in the world, like speaking different kind of languages.
Right.
So I went learning different kind of dances.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And did you then pursue dance in college and school? Like took further school, and how did that evolve?
Um, right on that last year of dancing in high school, it was like, what am I gonna do? I was so hooked in dancing, I wasn't even thinking about college.
Right.
No. So my dance teacher, at the last minute, had invitation to audition for California Institute of the Art. So I auditioned for that.
Yeah.
I fell down. I got back up with a smile on my face. And I just love learning different style of dance. I was doing things I never saw before. So they accepted me.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's at California Institute of the Arts. It's in Felicia, California. It's close to Magic Mountain. So I was still in California, so that was like, yay. uh, but that challenging time, dancing, doing something that I love, without access to communicate, like having an interpreter for my academic classes. Oh man, that was hard.
I'm sure. Yeah.
Yeah, it was. So dancing was the easy part, but academic was the whole different ball game. Uh, they had to learn how to work with a deaf person, so I was teaching them while I was learning about college life.
Sure. Sure. Now, before you got into dance, was there already a big dance community for people who are deaf?
I didn't know anything about that. When I went to Skyline High School, we have deaf people there too, but it's a larger community of hearing people.
Right.
Yeah. So I didn't get the exposure in Oakland, California, to see other deaf people. And that's why it's the big important thing for me at Urban Jazz Dance Company to show deaf people around the world.
Yeah.
So when I started traveling, I started meeting other deaf people around the world. That's when I started
Yeah.
seeing deaf. Yeah. So if you ask, like, what did I have to do to get deaf people to be seen? I found the Bay Area International Deaf Dance Festival.
Yeah.
And deaf people from around the world will come to San Francisco. They came from Australia, they came from Germany, UK, Colombia,
Yeah.
Jamaica, uh, with a lot from all over the world. And next year for 2022 will be the 10th-year
Right.
anniversary.
Yeah. That's phenomenal. You know what I love about your story is that you have brought community together, and you've also brought hearing and deaf together. Like we're now bridging the two worlds so that everyone's included.
Yeah, yeah.
It's wonderful.
Maybe you never heard about it, but here in America, most people who have hearing family, one of them will be deaf. So it's not a lot like deaf families. There are some generation of deaf families.
Hmm.
Mom and dad are deaf, and everyone is deaf. But most of them will have like me. I'm the only deaf person in my family.
Right.
So when it's time to go out to have a family time together, do movie theater have captions? Sometimes not. Where can we have a family show? So that's where the Bay Area International Deaf Dance Festival stepped in, or
Yeah.
Urban Jazz Dance Company stepped in. Like you said, hearing
Right.
and deaf come together.
Yeah. I can just imagine how many lives were impacted and even saved that you created this.
I have a quick question, which is in
Mhm.
school, when you were in school, did they have services for you for your academics, or was that they didn't?
It took some time for them to do some research. So when I arrived, no,
No.
no. It was almost like I was the first deaf to admit that I was deaf. I won't say I was the first deaf to go to that school. I learned that there were some deaf people that went to the school and other school. They don't tell people that they're deaf because they don't want to be seen differently, and they're trying to make it. Sometimes when you let people know if you're disabled, you're deaf, something different about you, then it makes you make they make it harder for you to do what you love.
But when you were doing the academics and if you didn't have an interpreter, how did you make your way through?
Oh, I had to teach myself everything that I'm learning from the school. I grabbed the book, I stay up all night. I admit I had 0 to 3 hours of sleep every day, but I was excited. My high school dance teacher said, "Be like a sponge, soak everything up." And I'm trying to soak it up so I can bring it back to Oakland or the Bay Area and ring it out wherever I learn.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Wonderful. Well, we're in a very, uh, I would say, perfect spot to have this interview, because during this time of year, every year, is the SF International Hip Hop Dance Festival with Michaela,
Cool.
and she's not having it this year. It's virtual. So I don't know what my question is, but how has your company and the rest of the dance community, like, are you guys doing projects together now and collaborating? And
Thank you for asking. I love the hip hop festival, by the way. The great people. Um, I would say, deaf disability community. Many of us are used to being creative, trying to survive, get through life. So that's every day. If it's not something that's accessible for deaf people, we're creating something. So I had to get creative. I accepted immediately that we was in COVID because that thing was locked down, but do the show stop? No. So I've already knew about Zoom way before. I used Zoom and Skype to communicate
of
with
course.
people.
Of course. Right.
When you have an international Deaf Dance Festival, you have to communicate with people around the world, and I can use my phone. So Zoom and Skype with visual.
It's visual, right?
So I had to introduce that to other people how to use it. So I said, let's go ahead and get on Zoom. And how do we make it accessible for everyone? So we got on Zoom. We did it live for everyone, performances. And some people was pre-recorded. And there were some people who spoke different sign language, Spanish sign language, and some people who are artists themselves do Spanish sign language, so we need a translator to speak English. So
Wow.
we have them there. We had international sign language for it's like a little bit of everything come together with sign language. Then we had caption, live captioning, and we have audio description for blind. Yeah, and we use Doom. They have a different language channel bot, but they had no channel bot for audio description. So I told everyone to use French channel, and if you need to for audio description. So we made that work, and we had a 3 night show, a full week workshop, everything. We made it. We survived. And people would call us and ask us how we did it. But that's how we did it.
Mm, congratulations. That was a
Oh,
success.
yeah. Just thank you, thank you. I gotta be grateful to learn how to do 0 to 3 hours of sleep.
Yes, I can see that. As we look into the future, and you've started, you could say you're at the center of the what you've created, the community that you've created. How would you like to see this grow? How would you like to see more deaf representation, more integration in the community, where
being deaf, we already face depression so much because people are not taking the time to listen to each other and learn how to slow down
Right.
and listen. How do we listen? There's so many ways. You can write to each other.
That's right.
You can actually learn sign language.
Yes.
Yeah. Uh, you can hire an interpreter. You can make dance, like I'm dancing to communicate. So I'm hoping that people create a space, just like I do, to have people feel welcome.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that people will let us feel welcome in the world for anywhere we try to go.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would love to have my festival here in the space. You know, Pilot Fine Art, YPCA. Many people are still afraid to see something different. That people coming here, oh, I don't know if it's going to work. Why? We've already been part of the Earth's history. Maybe many of the greatest conventions made by a deaf person. People who using a map to see the astronomy stars out there was created by a deaf woman.
Wow.
Yeah, so what I'm hoping for the future. Very International Deaf Dance Festival, Urban Jazz Dance Company, and other deaf business continues to survive.
Right.
Yeah, yeah. I hope that we continue to survive. Many deaf business closed down fast. We know during COVID, many business closed down.
Right.
But disability community, people of color community, the business was going down first or fastest.
Right.
I am so inspired by what it is that you've been doing what you're doing is just phenomenal. Really, it's phenomenal. So,
Thank you, thank
yeah.
you. It's been a long fight. I'm gonna continue to fight. I'm trying to stay brave. It's scary to be out there. I hope that people understand that I'm trying to be the voice for my communities. Um, I say that even the lion need their community.
Yes.
Yes.
Of course. Yeah. Yeah. So we both, all three of us, want to thank you so much for joining us on Beyond the Fog Radio. It's really our honor and our pleasure, and you've taught us so much today. So thank you so much.
Thank you for listening.
Thank you for coming.
Yes.